I'm Bill Clawson with Coldwell Banker Residential Brokerage in Palm Desert, California, and these are my top 10 tips for buying bank repo houses. You know, a lot of people have been buying houses these days that have been repossessed by the bank from the previous owner and then sold through the multiple listing service on the open market. This does present a terrific buying opportunity for some people, but it can be a little tricky. So I've created this top 10 list to give you some tips on how to buy bank repo houses successfully and for the best possible price. Tip number one, know what you want and why you want it. Real estate, collectible art, heavy equipment, they're all great deals these days. Gee, heavy equipment is 50 cents on the dollar, but I'm not going to run out and buy a backhoe. And that's because I really don't know what I would do with it. The same thing holds true for real estate. Make sure you know why you want it and don't just buy something because it's a great deal. Do you want to buy a house that you can live in? Do you want to buy a house that you can rent out and make a positive cash flow on? Or do you want to buy a house and hold it for long-term investment and maybe use it for a vacation rental? These are all perfectly logical reasons to buy a house, but know which one applies to you before you go out and buy something here in the desert. This is a great time to buy a house if you're an owner-occupant. That is, if you're planning on living in the house. A lot of these banks are providing special incentives to people who plan to live on the house as opposed to people who plan to use it as an investment and live somewhere else. So if you're planning on living in a house, you have special advantages, including but not limited to special financing, and also a lot of banks these days are allowing the first offers to be only from owner occupants and generally making investors wait 10 to 15 days after a house comes on the market before they will look at an offer from an investor. So tip number one, know what you want and why you want it. Tip number two, obtain a pre-approval letter from a lender if you're not paying cash. This is really important and it helps you know what you can afford and what, sadly, you might not be able to afford. But it also lets you move quickly when the opportunity is ready. When it's time to write an offer on a house, everyone is going to ask for a pre-approval letter showing that you can actually pay for the house. So get a pre-approval letter from a lender before you make an offer on the house. Here's a little extra tip. Bank of America probably has the most foreclosures of anybody here in the Coachella Valley, probably because they purchased Countrywide, as you know, a few years ago, and that gave them a big inventory of bank repos. So you may well want to get a pre-approval letter from Bank of America because they have so many bank repos that will really be a big help to you when it comes time to make an offer on a house. If you're paying cash, be prepared to document that you have the money to pay the cash, and they'll ask for proof that you actually has the funds. Tip number three, watch the market through desertbankrepos.com. That's my website devoted especially to bank repo houses. And take a look at the prices in the neighborhoods and follow the neighborhoods and really learn the market before you're ready to make an offer. I'm Bill Clawson with Coldwell Banker Residential Brokerage. Search for Bill Clawson on YouTube for more videos, tips number 4 through 10, on my top 10 tips for buying bank repos. And I'll be right here when you need me.